Alright, well, I'm just checking in with you guys. For those of you who haven't been here before, I just started this channel a few days ago to help, hopefully to help some people with my experience with RSO. I'm taking this on a daily basis right now. If you want to look back at some of my other videos, we'll talk about my history and all, but just real quickly, I'll tell you that I've been having symptoms for a couple of years. Traditional medicine has done basically nothing for me but tests that were, kind of inconclusive and didn't tell me a whole lot. I do know that I have thyroid cysts and nodules here. They told me, I don't know, a year and a half ago I had an unruptured brain aneurysm. They did wait 8 months, though, to tell me that. It was not the initial doctor who told me that. It was a doctor that I saw in follow-up 8 months later. And I happen to have some of the best insurance money can buy. Just so you know, I have 3 insurances, not just one. And for 2 years, we've been trying to figure out what's going on with me. So now I'm taking this into my own hands while I'm going to use the doctors for testing and things like that. Get a head start on this stuff. Anyway, they did tell me during my exploratory ultrasound that I had a couple months ago about the nodules and cysts. They didn't check my head at that time, but I've had some really bad symptoms here for the last 6 months, possibly relating to an old brain injury that I had about 7 years ago. Anyway, stuff's got bad over the last 2 years. 6 weeks ago, I was pretty much flat on my back, couldn't drive my car anymore. My complexion was gray. Waiting for doctor's appointments. Finally have one coming on Monday, and they've already sent me all kinds of paperwork about doing surgery and stuff, and they haven't even met me yet. And I've been doing RSO for 25 days now, and I believe this stuff is actually possibly shrinking some of these things. I'd love to hear from some of you guys out there who've done this before, because I actually think I feel this stuff working, and I'd like to know if that's normal. The pressure and squeezing kind of sensation is really the best way for me to explain what I feel from taking this, and it's not sensations that I've had before. They're different. Plus, it's gotten me out of the bed and back on my feet and running my 3 businesses again. Somewhat effectively. I do have employees that are helping with that, allowing me to, sleep late, which I'm doing. I'm kind of a night owl anyway, so it's kind of my schedule. But I had absolutely no energy. I was succumbing basically to death. I was pretty sure after Christmas that that was going to be my last Christmas. I didn't know exactly everything that was going on. Of course, traditional medicine takes so much time to diagnose you and then to do anything about it, and then they want to go rip my thyroid out, without even looking at this stuff. By the way, I've already told them that's not happening. Told them what I'm doing. We're doing an ultrasound on Monday. They want to do a biopsy. I told them that's not happening yet either. I don't want to aggravate this when I'm in the middle of what I believe isn't working. I honestly think that the growth or the tumor that I had in my abdomen, which they never completely located yet, I honestly think that's gone. But we'll find out. I knew it was there. I told the doctor 2 years ago when I first went to see him, there's something growing in there. Actually, it was August of 2017. I went to the doctor and I said, there's something in there. And I'm 49 years old, postmenopausal, and I was throwing positive pregnancy tests. Well, I did at the doctor's office that day, and which was really weird. So they didn't find anything, did several tests. All the meanwhile, I knew something was growing in there because I could feel it, and I was telling them this. So anyway, I don't think it's there anymore. Anyway, so I think we're getting better. The sensations that I'm having with taking this stuff, I'm not as tired as I thought I would be. I've worked up to taking 1,000 milligrams of THC a day now, 750 of that being in the form of RSO. I also take Delta 8-9 tincture or distillate. That helps me with nausea and my appetite. I like to do that in the morning and throughout the day. The tincture oil I put directly in the back of my throat, close to what I know are the affected areas. You can see I've got some Band-Aids on right now. That's just something I put together with the RSO. And oddly enough, when you put it in a spot, if you got something going on, you're probably going to feel it working. I can feel this stuff doing things in the areas that I put it again, I'd love to hear from somebody else out there who's done this before. But I felt literally a scab when I put a big bandage of RSO on my neck a couple days ago, and over a 24-hour, a little bit longer period, I swear to you, I felt like a scab come up in the back of my throat. And when I was complaining about it to my son all day, and when I went to dinner that night, I was eating some chicken wings. I'm not joking, but I think whatever that was, like, broke off and went down. And then I had the same thing happen 2 days later when I did another bandage. So I have no idea what that's about. I had been told I'd have Barrett's esophagus, and I can tell you that my esophagus had dried out over the last several years while I was running I owned a cigar bar. It was always very smoky in there. I was eating chili and drinking espresso every night and staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning running my bar. And I don't drink, never have. That's just not my thing. But I like throwing the party. Anyway, it's just kind of my thing. But so I ended up with all these problems, and I can tell you that the RSO, now for me, like I said, I was flat on my back. My complexion was gray. Couldn't drive my car by myself anymore. My son was helping me. Well, sometimes I could. I was having good days and bad days. And about 2 weeks, this stuff started getting me pretty good and out of the bed. But at week 3, it was like a major turnaround. I started getting my will to live back, and that was a big deal because I did not even completely realize how far gone that was until I started to feel better again. So I have an ultrasound scheduled Monday, not letting them do a biopsy on me, not yet. And just to give you a little background as to, I think I'm pretty in tune with my body. When I was in my 20s, I ended up in a wheelchair from nerve damage, and I ended up seeing over 20 neurologists, one of them being Terry Schiavo's neurologist. I don't know if you remember that big case or not, but they all told me that I was going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. And I was like, no way. So I took that in my own hands, and I told you I saw over 20 doctors. I did, because I just wasn't going to take no for an answer. And, you know, the funniest thing, I was bartending at my bar, I guess it was about 2011, and Dr. Hamasfar walked in my bar. I hadn't seen him since he did my nerve conductivity test back when I was in my 20s, so it had been over 20 years. And I'm running around in 5-inch heels, running my bar. I've, you know, owned horses, driven my trucks and trailers all over the country, hauling antiques all over the place. And I instantly knew who he was. He didn't remember me, of course, right off the bat. But when he walked up to my bar, he looked at me and he ordered a drink, like any of you would. And I just stopped dead in my tracks. And I said, I know who you are. And he kind of went like this and, you know, looked at me, and I told him my name, that he would remember my maiden name. I said, and you told me that I would never walk again after I was 30. And I want you to know that I own this bar, and I work in this bar every single night, and I dance, and I ride horses, and I do everything else I want to do. And I want you to know that that man, Dr. Hamasfar, Terry Schiavo's doctor, shed tears in front of me and apologized to me for being so wrong. So I want you to know, I tell you that because I want you to know that I have lived 20-some years of my life, a good life, doing all the things I wanted to do because I didn't listen to what those doctors had to say to me. And when they go home at night, they're not worried about what you're feeling. And they're probably not going to show up at your funeral either. So anyway, I'm doing this my way, using True Leaf products, doing 1,000 milligrams THC a day. We're going to see what it does, because with the best insurance on the planet, 3 of them, as I mentioned, 3 insurances, I've had absolutely no help, and this stuff has taken me out of the bed and got me back on my feet. So I'd love to have some input from you back there, and I hope to help some of y'all by telling you what's been going on with me. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon. Time for me to medicate, go to bed.